Hi everybody, welcome back to Wesley's Automotive. In today's episode, we're going to go over engine oil, how to check it, how to figure out what oil is required in your vehicle, a couple other bits and pieces. We're going to go through a few episodes, coolant, what color is right, everything means, as well as changing a tire, checking tire pressures, just general maintenance over your vehicle, so you can just keep an eye on things between services. It's always good to keep an eye on your levels and stuff between services. Even if it's a brand new car, it's always good to check it and make sure it's going good, so you don't have any issues. So in today's episode, we're going to go through oil. Let's get into it. All right, so we're going to go over it on the Wesley's Automotive Outlander. This is a diesel Outlander, 2.2 litre. We're just going to go over firstly how to check it, where to check it, and the right procedure. Is generally you don't just pull the dipstick out and yep, that's your level. There's a bit of a procedure just to make sure you're getting the right level. And the reason is because when the engine is cold and it's been sitting, the oil level is going to be higher. As it's thicker, it's at its thickest. So we want to check the oil level after it's been warmed up and the oil is thin, because it's going to be a lot lower. Most cars, or pretty much every car, will have a dipstick. A lot of the new cars, they don't. They're going to run everything through the infotainment center, your Volkswagen, Audis, just your German stuff. A lot of the new cars, they don't run a dipstick, which is a bit silly because it's a bit of a pain and a bit of a faff to get your level checked. But we'll go through one of those when I get one, and we'll go through how to check your level on those. But for now, we'll go for the old traditional. You have a dipstick, where to find it and how to check it. Generally, most cars are all going to have a dipstick on a front or a side of your engine, and they're always going to be color coded. So on the Mitsubishis, they're white. On some of the cars, they're yellow. They could be orange, but generally they'll have a bit of color to them, and you can identify them. You can get sometimes with the Mitsubishis, you can get confused. The transmission one's down there, it's also white, so you can see they're both the same, but that one has TM for transmission, and they're a lot lower down near the actual transmission itself, not up higher. So for the first pull of the stick, I just ran the car just to drive it in, but you can see it's actually over full because I've ran it. You need to do a white test first, always white first and then check. So we'll go through checking the level, the right procedure, or my way of doing a procedure. It may be right for you, it may be wrong for you. This is my way of checking it, and this is the way that I've always done it. I've been with automotive mechanic for 20 odd years, and this is the way that I do it. Everyone is different, everyone has their own different opinions and different ways. This is the most effective way that I find will work. So let's get into that and start checking some oil. All right, so we've got our dipstick down here. So the first thing we're going to do is going to pull it out. I've got a little rag here, and I usually just put the rag straight down the bottom and then wipe as I pull. So then that's going to give us our marks. So we can see pretty much all dipsticks are all going to have a line or a dot. They'll have two, sometimes they have three. The bottom dot is your low, and the top dot is your full mark. Some of these also have like an X up higher. Mitsubishi's, that's for when it gets up there, it's too high, generally because of DPF regens and stuff like that. But most cars, they're all going to have the two spots, or they're going to have like a little mark in between to go your full and high. But this one is hole at the bottom, hole at the top. So we'll check, we'll pull it out. The car's still cold, so I'll show you the difference. So we're just going to put it in, pull it out, and this one's actually due for a service, so it's pretty horrible, but we can see how that's low. So it's below the dot. So the right way, or the way that I do this, is I will run the car for about 5 minutes, just to warm everything up, get that oil circulating and warmed up. And then I'll usually let it sit for 2 to 3 minutes, and then I'll do my pull, wipe, and then my proper test from there. That way the oil is nice and warm. Yes, it's going to be lower because you've got a lot of oil still at the top. It hasn't had a chance to come back down, but that's where the car's going to run most of its time. A lot of the oil is going to be at the top and a little bit at the bottom. If you have too much at the top and none at the bottom, you're going to end up with problems. So we're going to run the car up for 5 minutes and then we will wait a couple of minutes and double check it again. So we'll get there. All right, we've let it sit. We let it run for 5 minutes or so, and then I've let it sit for a couple more minutes. So we're going to do our recheck now. Another point, make sure the car is level. You're going to get a false reading if the car's on a bit of an angle, up or down. So try and find somewhere level. If you haven't got a level driveway, I don't. So mine's going to be a bit skew-if. But if you haven't got a level driveway, maybe pop down to a park or something like that. And you know, once you've pulled up at a park, give yourself a 5-minute break, and then do your checks there. And that will give you your true reading. So we're going to pull this out, and we're going to check it. So first thing we're going to do once it's been running, because it's going to be higher, is we're going to wipe it. So I'm going to put the rag straight over the top of it and pull it out while I'm wiping. So now the dipstick is nice and clean. So we're going to pop it in and pull it straight back out. And that is going to be our true reading. So as you can see, it is low. It is a lot lower than what it was before when it was cold. As I said, this thing does need a service, and I am on a bit of a lean, so it's not going to be a true reading. But you can see that is going to be your level. So normally between the bottom and the top is around a litre, litre and a half. I would go half a litre at a time to get your fill, and you just top it up, wait 1 or 2 minutes, and then do your pull wipe dip, and then go from there. It's better to creep up onto it than to put too much in, be too high, because too high oil is not a good thing. It's going to go past the piston rings, straight in the exhaust, and it's going to be quite smoky. So just do it nice and slowly, a little bit at a time to get your right reading, and then you're there. The other mention is this is very dark. A couple of reasons for that. One is, as I mentioned, it is due for a service, but also diesels are always going to be dark. You could do an oil change. After you've run the car, it's going to be black. And that is because the diesel is very sooty. It definitely has a lot of soot and carbon inside it, and the oil has a lot of cleaners in it, so it's going to clean all that constantly. So even after you've had an oil change, you've paid a mechanic to come out and do an oil change, and you go to check it after he's left and you see that it's black, that's normal. Don't be too upset over it. He really, more likely he did change your oil, but it's going to be black. A petrol car is not as sooty, so they're going to be cleaner for longer. A gas car, not that there isn't many of those around anymore, but if it is on LPG, it will be clean for a longer time because the gas is very clean burn. So the oil doesn't do any cleaning as the gas does the cleaning for it. So we've checked our oil. We can see that we are low. So we're going to pop some in, and we're going to go through a couple of different oils as well to figure out which oil is right for you and for your vehicle. It is also good to check at your part supplier, give them your registration number and get the right oil. There is a right oil and there is a wrong oil. So we're going to go through a few oils and the meanings of the oils as well next. Alright, so we've got a few oils lined up here. They're all around the same weight at the first number. The viscosity on the second number is a bit higher or lower. Every engine needs the specific oil. If you're in trouble, if you're at a service station, you're out of oil and they haven't got the oil, or you don't know what oil, a good all-rounder is a 540, as that is going to have enough protection and viscosity for you, depending on your climate, depending on where you live in the world. These are all going to be different. But I'm not going to get too involved in the numbers and the classing and SAEs and all that. We're just going to run over a few different oils. So you don't look at an oil and go, yeah, right, which one do I want? So an all-rounder here in Australia is going to be a 540, pretty much most cars. Any new car or a hybrid has a 0 instead of a 5 or a 10 or a 15. The newer engines are built with less tolerance, so a thicker oil is going to be pretty bad for it, as it's going to be too thick to get through those little tolerances and gaps in the engine, as opposed to a thinner oil. It's always good to, when you go to your parts shop, go and ask the people, give them your registration number, whatever you need to do to get the correct oil. But an oil does everything different, and they all have different cleaners, they have different viscosities, they have different protection levels and fuel saving, and they're all going to say some weird stuff on it. They're all going to look like gibberish to the lane person. Penrite brand is my brand that I use all the time, and they are really good. Most of the part suppliers, they're going to have a little tablet where you can put in your registration and find the right oil for you. But as I mentioned, if you're at a service station, you need some oil, you don't know what it needs. If it's an older car over 150, 200,000 Ks, then go a little bit thicker. You can go a 1040 or a 1050. But if it's a newer car with less Ks on it, a 540, 530 will do the job. In this case, with the Outlander, it takes the C3, so it needs this for the emissions and also for the DPF, which is a whole other thing with oils, with the diesel particulate filter. So make sure you check before doing a service. If you're going to do a service on your car, make sure you get the right oil. If you're just topping up, it's not overly a big deal, just to put in a litre or so of whatever you can get to get you out of trouble. So in this one, we're going to use the C3, as that's what Penrite recommends for this application. So we're going to top up the oil, and we'll go through that process. All right, I've got the funnel set up in the car. So as we saw before, she was a little bit low. Let me find my rag. There it is. She was a little bit low. As I said, we are on a lean, but I need to service this car anyway, so I'm going to show you the full process. So I've got the funnel set up. If you're really good at pouring, you don't need a funnel, but I'm not, obviously. So we're going to pop some oil in. So we're just going to go a little bit at a time and creep up to that level. It's easy to put in, it's not so easy to take out. If you don't know how much is too much, just go a little bit. Just go a little bit at a time. A little bit in there, and then we're going to wait 30 seconds, a minute, 20 seconds. Now, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put our rag around, we're going to wipe as we pull, and then we're going to dip and check. Straight in, straight out. Oh, and can you get any better than that? We are right on that dot. So that wasn't very much to get that up that high. And that's all you need. If you are a little bit over, if your dot's here, if you can see it, and you're just over top of it, it's not overly big deal. When you get too far up, it's a bit too much. As I said, it's going to get past piston rings, and it's going to end up going through your exhaust, and it's going to melt catalytic converters or DPFs and stuff like that. So try and get it as close as you can. As I said, a little bit, just a drop. Try that, see how much that gave you. A drop, see how much that gave you. You'll be able to gauge it once you put a couple in. You'll be able to see, oh, okay, I only put this much in, and it's only moved this far, so I can double that to get it a further distance. So making sure you're keeping an eye on that and doing that nice and slowly, and you'll get to your level. All right, so to recap, we've gone over the oil, how to find your dipstick, and how to top it up, how to check. Should probably do this fairly regularly. As I said, if your car is brand new, 10,000 Ks on the clock, you should always still check. It doesn't matter. You don't want to run out of oil. That's the worst thing you can do for an engine. And just because it's brand new doesn't mean it's not going to burn any oil. So always check it and always keep an eye on that. Generally, with a new car, you know, you'll check it once a fortnight and you'll see that it's not using any, and you know, you'll leave it a bit further. You'll go a month, 2 months, something like that. But an older car that's done a few Ks, this one's done 150,000. We're going to check that a little bit more frequently. I usually check this every couple of weeks. It's not a daily thing. You don't have to go on. If you're checking them daily and you're filling up daily, you've got an oil leak. And we need to figure out where that is, get your mechanic out to come and see where that oil leak is, to keep the oil on the inside, because that's where it does its work. So that's all for that I've got for that. As I said, we can go deep dive into oils and viscosities and all the jargon that comes with it. But this isn't that. If you want to find that, Google that. It'll tell you all of the numbers and everything that you need. But this is just a basic how to check your oil, and just basic how-tos. So we're going to go through a few things on the Wesley's Auto Outlander. We're going to go through coolants and brake fluids and batteries and stuff like that, tires and pressures and stuff. So this one's the oil one. Any comments or questions, drop them down the bottom, tap away on some keys, tell me what you think. Please like, subscribe, and we'll try and do as much of these as we can. I want to try and give more of a broad range on how to keep an eye on your car, how to maintain it, how to tricks and tips. Anything that I've got out of my knowledge after being a mechanic for over 20 years, and still is, I want to give out as much information as I can so people can understand what's going on, especially when a mechanic comes around and gives you a quote for something. You kind of got a general gist of what you're looking at and what the problem could be. So as I said, this one was oil. We'll go through coolants and everything next. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.